r/AskReddit. What's your best childhood memory? Why? Growing up I didn't realize how poor we were. My parents were amazing at providing for us. We loved watching baseball games and I wanted to go to a game so bad. We never couldn't afford it. To make up for it, while we were at school, my mom made up tickets to that night's game and money for us to spend. When we got home she had set up chairs in front of the TV and numbered them. Gave us the tickets and money and told us to go clean up before the game. Come game time we lined up at the doorway. My dad took our tickets and told us how to get to our seats. After the game started my parents went to the kitchen and had a tray of hot dogs, candy, and soda. Hot dogs? Get your hot dogs. We got out the money my mom made and bought whatever snacks we wanted. Best baseball game I've ever been to. Edit. Spelling. Edit 2. I'll dedicate the goal to my parents and spread the love. Having lunch and getting ice cream with my mum and dad when I was 9 in London. My school had organized a school trip and gave me special permission to see my dad instead of going to the science museum. We rejoined them later to go see cats. Dad works away from home. Back then, we didn't see him often, maybe a couple times a month, if we were lucky. We all got lunch in near Portobello Road and then went to get the ice creams. My dad got a particularly huge one. To my mind, it was like 7 scoops. Everything seems massive when you're a kid, and it all fell onto his tie. We laughed, talked about music and their lives in London before marriage/kids. We walked down the street, holding hands, me in the middle. I know it's such a non-event memory. I'm the youngest of 3 and this was the first, and possibly last time, I spent alone time with my parents. Just us 3, like I was their only kid. It made me feel special. I cherish this memory so much. Have family vacation to Colorado to ski. They piled all the grandkids, me and 7 of my cousins, in the back of the van, and removed the bench seats, replaced them with air mattresses. They hooked up a TV and VHS player and we all watched the original Scream movie while eating road trip snacks and annoying the life out of our grandparents. We stopped the moment we got to where there was snow to have a giant family snowball fight. We took pictures the whole ride on disposable cameras. I think my older cousins mooned a few unsuspecting strangers 18 hours there and 18 hours back, and the ride was just as good as the actual vacation. My parents' house had a huge prairie field beyond its backyard. There was a lot of wildlife, giant ponds, and tiny forests scattered throughout a giant plain. As an introverted child I remember going on so many adventures here until the sun came down. One particular moment that sticks with me was sitting on my fence, overlooking the fields watching the sunset with my dog after a long day of playing. It's not a particularly eventful moment, but I remember thinking, that moment was perfect. As a kid that grew up reading Calvin and Hobbes, I feel so fortunate I got to grow up in the area I did. It was like I was living the life of my favorite comic. Let's go exploring. I don't know if this is officially my best, but I moved to a new town in the 4th grade, and it took me until the 5th grade to really start making friends. So that year I got invited to my first birthday for a new friend and I wanted to get them a good gift. I had seen he had a Dodge VIP poster on his wall, so I got him a pretty cool scale version of one. It was blue with a white racing stripe like his poster. My mom paid for half, and I paid for half out of my savings. After we did the cake and stuff I realized that my friend's mom and brother had gotten him gifts, but none of the other friends had gotten him anything. I was really embarrassed. I thought I had done something stupid, like all 10-year-olds feel when they are not following the crowd. So I was sheepish when he opened my gift, but he really loved it, and I was glad I had gotten it for him, and in the end it was everyone else who felt sheepish for not bringing something. I saw that guy years later as an adult, and he brought up to me how much he had appreciated getting that VIP lol. When I was 10 years old my parents made help out back to clear out the weeds that had taken over our backyard. It was going to take a while, because how crazy it was, but I was taking even longer to help, because I was so distracted by the cute puppy our next door neighbor had. I found out that his parents were going to take him back to the shelter because their son wasn't taking good care of him like he promised. They offered to sell him to me for $20, and I had that saved up, So I went back and forth begging my parents if we could get him. They finally caved and he became our. I named him Snoopy and have never been as happy as I was that day. I was an only child, so I looked so much forward to having a dog to play with and go on adventures with. It's definitely my favorite memory because he meant too much to me in the almost 17 years he was a part of my life. Here is the first picture I have of us together, where you can see on my face just how happy and excited I was. So my story I want to tell is about me being an army brat. So my dad was my birthday present. I was around 8 at the time. So let me explain. My dad was overseas in the Middle East. He was deployed for 26.5 months. And when he left I was 6 at the time. And when he finally came back home for good I was 10 years old. He always came home on leave each year for a week or two around Christmas time. And we were picking up my dad from the airport. I was so excited to see him that was running around in the airport calling for him, looking for any sign of him. So when I saw someone who was in uniform, naturally I thought it was my dad. So I start running up to him and then begin to wrap around one of his legs and sat down on his foot and start squeezing the life out of his leg, and my little brother was doing the same thing to his other leg as well. So after my mom got done prying us of him I look up. And what do you know? It wasn't my dad, Big Rivali, and after countless times of us apologizing we left and found our dad a couple of minutes later and did the same thing when we saw him. Mom says that we made the soldier cry a little because of our enthusiasm to see our dad. We didn't even look to see if it was dad, we just saw the uniform and bolted towards him. In 5th grade, I took either the bus home or to my mom's business. On the bus to business, a kid, 7th grade, was bullying me. Idea what all he did, but the breaking point was him spitting all over my backpack while I wasn't watching. Anyway, I hold my shit together until I get off the bus, but as soon as I got inside the building, I was bawling. I told my mom I was being bullied. So anyway, the next school football game, my family went, and as soon as we got there, I saw bully and pointed him out to my mom. Just so she'd know this big tough kid I was against. My mom, wonderful soul, walked over to him and basically told him not to even think about me or else. The kid was really scared of my mom. 5'1", 1/2 inch. That was the moment I knew my mom was my best advocate. Anyway, so bully stops bullying, doesn't even look at me, except once. His friend started to pick on me. Bully said be careful or signal will tell his mom on you. I turned around, made eye contact with his whole group and loudly stated, well, she scared you. Never heard from him again. Chris, if you see this, I'm actually kinda interested in knowing how you ended up. The first time I got straight A's, I was 11 years old in 6th grade, and all the way up until 5th grade I had been a horrible student because I simply hated school and didn't try. I was also bullied quite a bit by people I thought were my backroad friends, and so needless to say my self-esteem was pretty low. I was doing so badly in school for a while there was talk of holding me back in 4th grade, but thank God that didn't actually happen. I have no idea why, but in 5th grade I just started trying, and I made honor roll A's and B's for that whole year. But still, my self-esteem remained low. However, the day I'll never forget, everything changed. It was 6th grade and the second quarter was ending, and our teacher announced to the class that only one student made principal's list, straight A's. All the students, myself included, started shouting out the name of this one super smart girl in our class. It was always her, so that's who we all expected it to be. But my teacher said no, it was my name. I smiled so big with utter disbelief. I never thought myself capable of such an accomplishment. For the first time in my life I felt like I was worth something. I wasn't just the worthless moron many other kids treated me like. From that moment on I decided I always wanted to feel that feeling, whatever it takes. I have never gotten anything less than an A since. I was maybe 5 or 6, and I woke up in the middle of the night to use the restroom. It was that perfect time where everything is quiet and dark and it just feels so still. When I walked through the living room my grandfather was sitting in his chair at the table, drinking whiskey and eating buttered saltines. He invited me to sit with him and have a snack, which felt amazing to me since individual time with him was extremely rare. The room was lit only by the warm glow of the night light from the kitchen. I don't remember if we talked except for when he told me I'd better be back off to bed, but I remember how it felt. I remember his presence. How big his silhouette looked, sitting across from me. How calm and soothing it was just to be there. It's that kind of memory that just wraps itself around you and envelops you in warmth. It's one of those moments where everything falls away and nothing else exists. Just dark, quiet, and some buttered crackers. He died of cancer not long after that, and that's one of the only memories I have of him. Thank you for watching Reddit. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more r/AskReddit videos. Share your stories in the comments section below.